nobody should ever have to bury their son.
My son is gone, who I would never be able to talk to again, who I'll never be able to hug, see his smile.
Now at 5, a 14-year-old boy is shot and killed in his neighborhood. We talked to his family and investigators about what happened.
And expert witnesses cross-examined in the suitcase murder trial. The testimony the defense is trying to poke holes in. Plus,
right now, people are lining up in early voting to cast their ballots in this election, and not just on races, but also on all those amendments on the ballot. I'm WESH 2 News political reporter Greg Fox. I'll take a closer look at the one proposed amendment that would make school board races partisan.
Local, live, late-breaking. WESH 2 News starts now.
a 14-year-old boy was shot to death in his neighborhood, and deputies are now investigating.
Yeah, this happened Wednesday in the Marion Oak subdivision. It's along Southwest 48th Avenue near Sunrise Elementary School. WESH News Tonight, Gabriel spoke with the victim's family.
Now to the latest on the so-called suitcase murder trial, 4 years in the making. There was another holdup in Orange County Court today as Sarah Boone's defense attorneys had concerns with testimony during the state's rebuttal. WESH 2's Justin Schecker live at the courthouse with where the trial stands right now. Justin?
Hey there, Jesse. This afternoon, Sarah Boone and her boyfriend's tumultuous relationship is on full display. Prosecutors have been showing the jury body-worn camera videos from deputies responding to their Winter Park home before the night George Torres Jr. died in that zipped suitcase. The state is also disputing Boone's battered spouse syndrome defense. And the judge noted a juror needs to go home by 5:30 today, so this trial will continue tomorrow with closing arguments from both sides. The judge will then outline instructions for the jury to begin deliberating whether to convict Sarah Boone of second-degree murder. Live outside the Orange County Courthouse, I'm Justin Schecker, WESH 2 News.
We are learning new details tonight about the moments leading up to a deadly shooting in Orlando. 54-year-old Armando Carolero is accused of shooting and killing his wife, 44-year-old Eunice Rodriguez. Police say it happened Monday outside of a strip mall along Lake Underhill Road and Cimarron Boulevard. Now, court documents say Carolero was seen holding his wife by the hair as she was on the ground with a bloody face. Shortly afterwards, a witness told police she heard 3 shots fired and then saw Carolero running away. Police say he actually called 911 himself and admitted to shooting his wife. He's since been arrested in Indian River County and transferred back to Orange County. And now to a developing story in East Orange County where a body has been found inside a burning mobile home. This all started just before 1 o'clock at a home on Indigo Avenue near East Colonial Drive and Avalon Park Boulevard. Orange County Fire says once they put the fire out is when they found one person dead inside. No word just yet on what may have started that fire.
Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody is asking a judge to stop the federal government from blocking a state investigation into the second assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump. The governor issued an executive order directing state agencies to ensure appropriate state charges are brought against Ryan Routh. He's currently facing 5 federal gun charges after investigators say he showed up to Trump's golf course intending to shoot him. Moody says federal officials told state investigators they must suspend their investigation until the federal prosecution is over. But she argues that directive violates the 10th Amendment, which protects state governments from federal overreach. The DOJ declined to comment on the lawsuit. In Commitment 2024 means you can count on WESH 2 to detail the races and measures on your ballot.
Yeah, and right now we're focusing on Amendment 1. WESH 2 News political reporter Greg Fox explains how it could actually change the face of school board races across Florida.
All right, we want to get you down to that breaking news out of Los Angeles. People at the podium in the case about resentencing Eric and Lyle Menendez. Let's listen in.
All right, so we have been listening to the Los Angeles District Attorney talk about his decision to recommend resentencing the Melendez brothers, who we know were convicted of murdering both of their parents at ages 19 and 21 a little more than 30 years ago. And basically what he says he is recommending specifically is that they are sentenced with life without the possibility of, or excuse me, they were sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, but he wants to remove that from the sentence and allow them to parole immediately, basically, is what it would mean. They'd be eligible for parole immediately.
Yep. Of note, the DA said that there was no universal agreement in his office. He personally believes in the resentencing. However, there were strong camps, but he did decide to go ahead and recommend that resentencing, which he will do to the court tomorrow, and then the court will take it on from there.
Yeah, this is something that they've been talking about and really dealing with for decades now. If you want to continue to follow this, you can do so at WESH.com. And of course, if there are any other updates, we'll bring it to you here live on air. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Closed captioning brought to you by National Floors Direct.
Let's talk about breast cancer, the deadliest cancer among women that 1 in 8 will develop.
The American Cancer Society and WESH 2 want to remind you that early detection is key.
At 18, practice self-awareness so you can identify changes.
At 21, schedule your women's wellness exam.
And make sure your doctor knows if it runs in your family.
At 40, get your mammogram.
Finding it early means more successful treatment.
Fight for your health, because early detection is life.
All right, we're taking a look at our first warning weather, and if you have not been outside today, you need to go and get some of this beautifulness inside, because it is just beautiful outside. I love it.
I got some yard work done for the first time in like 6 months. I wasn't sweating.
Yeah.
That's a plus,
it's
right?
It's amazing, right? It's cool.
Let me take you guys back outside. You're absolutely right, Summer. I hope you do get the chance to maybe grill outside this evening, or walk the dog, or just take the little ones out there for a nice little walk this evening after dinner. Gorgeous shot up towards the Halifax and out over the Atlantic up there in Daytona Beach, where the temperature now is sitting at 82 degrees. Back towards the interior, not bad at all. 82, 84 degrees. Melbourne, you're coming in at 79, a little bit cooler, but I'll tell you what, satellite radar, fairly quiet out there. Yesterday, we were tracking some showers. That's the actual East Coast sea breeze. It is now kind of working on in through DeLand, and had it been a couple of months earlier, we'd be talking about afternoon showers and storms. Now that we're in our dry season, things have changed. Just wanted to give a quick little update here along the St. Johns River. Astor and DeLand remain now in major flood stage. Sanford has dropped to minor flood stage. A little bit of good news there I wanted to pass along. And Lake Harney still in moderate flood stage. Winds this afternoon coming in out of the north-northeast here at about 10 to 15 miles an hour along the coast. A little bit lighter back through the interior. Evening planning, fantastic. Comfy, cooling nicely into the upper 60s to around 70 by the 11 o'clock hour. Check out these temperatures in Orange County. Out the door tomorrow morning from Christmas to 65, Zellwood 63, Disney 64, Hunters Creek down towards Conway right around 64 degrees. Up towards Seminole County, not bad from Lake Mary to Chulliota, a little cooler. Up towards Astor and DeLand, right there on the water in Ormond Beach, 69, but just inland over towards the airport in Daytona, we are talking about 64 degrees. And then as we head west and northwest, upper 50s here from Renwick to Denellen, low 60s back towards Bushnell, Claremont, it's at 64. Off towards the south and east, look at St. Cloud, Point Siena, could be a little bit of patchy fog here, 64, 65, right there on the water. In coastal Brevard County, we'll be running in the low 70s. So tonight through tomorrow, beautiful. Could be some patchy fog, dry, some high clouds kind of wafting on in off of the Gulf of Mexico there come tomorrow afternoon. But look at these temperatures now for your TGIF. Normally we'd be at about 83. We're going to be a bit above that through the interior. Could be middle upper 80s off towards the south and west down towards Polk County. But look at Daytona Beach. Morning temperature of 70. Mid-afternoon high temperature 83. Friday night football on the gridiron. We are looking golden, 74, 71 with the fair skies here. The Saturday on into Sunday, high pressure slides across Interstate 10, keeping our weather fantastic all weekend long. As we take a look at a couple events, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month here, and this one right here is the Big Golf Weekend down to Rose and Shingle Creek. There are some slots still open if you want to raise some money for the cause. Temperatures by the afternoon right around 80, and homecoming BYU in town against our Knights 83 degrees with no mention of any rain whatsoever. Now, the tropics are quiet for now, but that is going to change, we do believe, down the road. When we look at the Caribbean, the tropical cyclone heat potential, it's still like the middle of summer. So there's plenty of moisture and instability for something to bubble up over, and the models continue to hint at that here. So that's one of the things that we're going to be watching. I've got a couple more graphics prepared for you. I'll spend a little bit more time on that coming up in the next half hour. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, beautiful. Get out there and enjoy it. Front backs in early next week. A couple of showers. Temperature's not too bad though. 82 to about 84.
Universal Orlando annual pass holders can now book single-day tickets to Epic Universe.
Universal is set to open its newest theme park just in time for Memorial Day weekend on May 22nd. Now, multi-day tickets for the highly anticipated new theme park are already on sale. People can also book to stay at the Helios Grand Hotel, which is on Epic property. You can find all of this information on WESH.com.
The Orlando Magic kicked off their season with a big win last night in Miami. And if you're planning to go to tomorrow's home opener, you can take Sunrail for free. An additional southbound train will also be available after the game. The promotion is available all season long on Magic home game days during the week.
UCF is celebrating homecoming this week, and tomorrow thousands of students will attend one of the best campus traditions, the Spirit Splash. It's the only time students are allowed in the reflection pond and try to collect very rare and prestigious rubber ducks. The Knights will then take on undefeated BYU on Saturday afternoon at 3:30.
Don't get me wrong, I'm a proud Gator, but I've always been jealous of that tradition.
It is pretty cool.
Yes. All right, coming up in our next hour.
The tougher rules just announced by the EPA when it comes to lead paint dust in homes and child care facilities.
But first, a shooting lands 2 14-year-olds in Orange County in the hospital.
Used to have 14, my heart dropped because that's not far from my son's age at all, and I can't imagine a gun in his hand.
What investigators are saying about the case next.
WESH 2 News continues.
Now at 5:30, 2 14-year-old boys in Orange County land in the hospital after being shot.
And at this point, deputies have now told us exactly what happened or who might be to blame. Both teens were shot along Huntington Green Court Wednesday night. That's just north of the intersection of Texas Avenue and Americana Boulevard. WESH 2's Dave McDaniel has the latest on the investigation today.
Investigators have not released any information about possible suspects just yet.
All right, we do still have to keep an eye on the tropics and a few areas that we might want to keep an eye on, but for now, no concerns directly for us.
Yeah, it's so beautiful outside, Tony, but we have to remember we are still in hurricane season technically.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. End of hurricane season, November the 30th. And even though we think the tropics are going to be quiet here over the next week, there are signs of signal here that somewhere in the Caribbean, we're going to start to bubble something up next week. And I wanted to show you the differences now between the GFS and the European computer model, which now does have a little weak feature there across the Eastern Caribbean sometime next week. So it's trying to come more in line with what the American GFS model is doing, although the GFS is a bit more pronounced. As you can see, that's next Saturday over Cuba. So something that we are going to be watching very, very carefully. We would just urge you to keep checking back in. Now, when it comes to November and landfalling hurricanes in Florida, of course, the last one was Nicole in 2022. Then you go back to 1935, the Yankee, the Clipper storm that came in from the north and the east, and then Kate. An interesting sidebar, when you take a look at this year's storms, we've had 2 Cat 4s and 2 Cat 5s. So 4 in the very high-end major hurricanes there. There's only been 5 other seasons that had 5 in that category. So let's hope we don't add to that. But just wanted to kind of show you what kind of a season we've had thus far. 2 Category 4s, 2 Category 5s, and in 1961, 1999, 2005, and 2020, we had 5 in that range. Just kind of putting that out there, guys. Something we'll be watching down the road. Again, the end of hurricane season, November the 30th. Things, though, are quiet for now. Back to you.
Thank you, Tony. A Port Orange veteran is grappling with the aftermath of Hurricane Milton, having just closed on his home 3 weeks before the storm.
Yeah, heartbroken after extensive flooding. He now faces the daunting task of trying to rebuild his new home. WESH 2's Pamela Combs spoke with the man who is faced with some pretty tough decisions right now. Howell is staying with some family. In the meantime, his neighbors started a GoFundMe to help him raise some funds and rebuild. You can find that link on our website at WESH.com.
A Colorado man is now the first to sue McDonald's relating to its E. coli outbreak linked to Quarter Pounders. The outbreak has led to at least 49 illnesses across 10 states, including 1 death. Eric Stelly's lawyer says he tested positive for E. coli after a few days of pain and is still recovering. The lawsuit accuses McDonald's of product liability, negligence, and breach of implied warranties. His lawyer says he's also representing at least 10 other alleged victims of the outbreak. McDonald's has not commented on the lawsuit.
Ultimately, consumers go to restaurants not expecting to get poisoned or not expecting to, have kidney failure or not expecting to die. If it is found that the onion supplier supplied them contaminated onions, so they can say, yes, it's my fault. I served you the hamburger, but the onion supplier needs to pay for it.
The FDA and CDC are reportedly honing in on Taylor Farms, which supplies those onions to McDonald's. The company's distributor notified customers 4 raw onion products have been recalled because of potential E. coli contamination.
And now to a health alert involving paint. The EPA just issued tougher rules when it comes to lead paint dust in homes and childcare facilities. Any level is now considered hazardous. The EPA says even low levels of lead exposure can still be unsafe, particularly to children. Lead is no longer an ingredient in paint, but it's still found in older buildings and homes. These new rules are part of a broader effect by the White House to reduce lead exposure.
All right, one of the most popular games right now is making major changes to limit what kids can access and give parents more control. We're talking about Roblox. The changes will specifically target preteen users. Anyone under 13 will need their parents' permission to access certain chat features in the game. And gamers under 9 will need permission to play experiences in the game that have a, quote, moderate content label. Parents will also be able to link their accounts to their kids so they can update controls and access stats about their kids' usage.
Now to a new Rawson and 60. Scammers, we know, will say and do anything to get your money. And the FTC says they are even impersonating businesses now at a record number.
Chief National Consumer Correspondent Jeff Rawson's here with the ones we need to look out for. Emergency funds serve as an easily accessible cash reserve to cover unplanned expenses or emergencies. But for many Americans right now, just getting by is hard enough. But without any sort of emergency funds, the financial shock could result in debt and potentially create a longer lasting problem. Bankrate says nearly 70% of Americans don't have enough to cover unexpected expenses for a prolonged period of time.
An ideal emergency savings cushion for most people is going to be enough to cover 6 months worth of expenses, but only about 28% of American households actually have a cushion of that size.
Bankrate says some easy steps to get your emergency fund started include making a budget, figuring out your goal, setting up direct deposit, and saving any unexpected income. For those living paycheck to paycheck or without a constant stream of income, managing your cash flow or putting away part of your tax refund could be the easiest ways to get started.
The 2024 HBCU Week Foundation College Fair kicked off this morning at Walt Disney World Resort. Representatives from 35 historically black colleges and universities across the country were there. Students brought their current unofficial transcripts for opportunities, and some students even got on-the-spot college admission and scholarships, including full rides.
We do have one of our students from Evans High School. Her name is Beth, and she was given a scholarship on the site as well as on the site acceptance into Bethune-Cookman University. So it's just amazing what magic can happen here at HBCU Week here at Walt Disney World.
And this is the second time the event was hosted at Walt Disney World. More than 5,000 students came out for this event today. So to come, a new and unique bill making its way through New York City.
How the proposed pet sick leave law could influence other cities.
Plus, college can cost more than $25,000 a year. For many families, that price tag is just not affordable.
My family didn't have a lot of money growing up, so we didn't even know if college was going to be a for sure thing.
How this week's community champion is helping ease the financial burden of getting a college degree.
This election day, Florida voters will decide on 6 amendments, including legalizing marijuana and abortion rights. WESH 2 is breaking through the noise and getting you the facts before you cast your ballot. The Commitment 2024 Amendment Special, tonight at 7:30.
Closed captioning is sponsored by attorney Dan Newlin.
Recent data shows students enrolled at one of Florida's 4-year colleges will spend on average about $25,000 a year on tuition, books, housing, and other fees.
That's a lot of money. But this week's community champion is helping those families with those costs. As WESH 2's Sheldon Dutez shows us, the Hispanic Heritage Scholarship Fund is doing its part to help lighten that financial load, and it is already making a huge difference in students' lives. What an awesome story. And, you know, this isn't the only recognition that Smith and the Hispanic Heritage Scholarship Fund are getting this month.
No, they recently got a national award in Salt Lake City last week. So doing good stuff for the community and nationwide recognition, too.
And, yeah, getting a little recognition. And that's awesome.
Yeah, do you know someone with a history of doing good in Central Florida? WESH 2 wants to know about them. Nominate those with a track record of giving back for a WESH 2 Community Champion Spotlight. Email us details about your nominee to communitychampion@wesh.com, and they can be featured here on WESH 2 on Thursdays.
All right, when you look outside, hopefully you've been outside because it's beautiful. I think a lot of us kind of take a deep breath and we're like, okay, this is why we are Floridians here. Yeah. Not the hurricane stuff.
I was going to say, after the last few months, having this now is fantastic.
This is why,
I think a lot of folks are very happy about that, especially in those flood-prone areas and along the St. Johns River. Let me take you guys back outside to Marion County, up towards the square tonight. We are looking great. Hope you guys are having a good evening up there. Look at the temperatures outside right now. All right, we're in good shape here. We're at 79 New Smyrna Beach, 82 Wildwood, 84 on into St. Cloud. Live radar, not a whole lot going on other than the East Coast sea breeze working on in. You can see the winds behind that coming in off of the Atlantic, whereas off towards the west Coast sea breeze trying to work in towards Interstate 75. High rip current risk through very early tomorrow morning. Otherwise, I think the conditions will improve just a little bit come tomorrow afternoon. Fog will be a concern. We'll take a look at our fog tracker tonight at 10 and 11 to give you an update on where that fog may be the thickest. But look at these temperatures now. Perfect. Upper 50s to right around the 60-degree mark in Marion County. Low 60s from Lake Panasoffkee, shooting over towards Eustis, on into Paisley, down towards Groveland and Claremont and Astatula. You folks are going to be in fantastic shape. Look at the temperatures here. Celebration, St. Cloud, Davenport, right around 64, 65. Vieira, you're at 67, a couple miles to your east, about 5 degrees warmer over towards Cocoa Beach and Satellite Beach. The metro areas from DeLand to Disney, from Windermere to Wedgefield, about 62 to about 65, right around 65 up there in Daytona Beach, Palm Coast, a few degrees cooler. Now, a few clouds out the door tomorrow morning, high, thin, cirrus clouds, but really other than that, we're in great shape. So get out there and enjoy your Friday morning. Maybe get a jog in before work, and then as you take a look now at that onshore flow, not too bad. Temperatures at the beaches tomorrow, hint, hint, good beach day, 83, 85, back through the interior. 84 to about 87 degrees, which is a little bit above the norm for this time of the year. Look at Palm Coast, early afternoon highs here, low 80s. Friday night football, another big matchup. The Oviedo Lions, Evan Trojans, 76-73. Beautiful night for high school football, and there's some big-time matchups. All right, Saturday, Sunday, there's that big dome of high pressure. That will slide eastward along I-10. Best chance for any rain is going to be down to the south. The front will be approaching early next week. That'll increase our rain chances by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But if you're heading over towards Raymond James Stadium on Sunday, it's a winner. Hope the team can win. 81-85. We're down 2 wide receivers there, so let's hope we can go get them. All right, to take a look now at the tropics here. Things are pretty quiet, but as we get into late next week, it looks like there's going to be a bubbling up of some moisture. I showed you the warm temperatures down here. The ocean content is certainly in a good phase for something to develop. And that's what the signal's been hinting at here over the last couple days. Now, historically speaking, in November, anything that develops here in the Caribbean tends to curve towards the north and east south of Florida because fronts come in a bit more quickly. This year's a little bit different. The fronts are not as persistent as they usually have been. So does that leave the door open for something to come northward? Only time is going to tell. The GFS model continues to want to do that. The European and many other models are not doing that. So just check back in. That's all I'm asking you to do. We have nothing to worry about for at least 7 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 85, 84, 83. We're in fantastic shape. Look at those overnight lows in the mid-60s. Rain chances start to go up Monday afternoon, Tuesday, and Wednesday with that backdoor front kind of curling back in. Temperatures then 82, 83, 84. But notice the humidity on the rise. Wednesday and Thursday morning low temperatures are going to be running right around 70. Afternoon high temperatures holding 83 to 84. WESH 2 News at 5 returns here in just a minute.
Closed captioning is sponsored by New South Window Solutions.
A new bill in New York City could allow people to use paid sick time for their pets.
Yeah, right now, most companies only let employees take time off for personal or family issues. But if passed, some say the policy change would make owning a pet much easier. Some employers have voluntarily changed policies in recent years to allow people to take time off for pet needs, including bereavement. But traditionally, asking the boss for a day off to go to the vet is kind of uncharted territory.
Because pets are not people.
And you love your pet, of course.
I love my pet. But I don't know if you can take your time off to take care of your pet. That's a little bit of a stretch.
Wow, you do. What do you think?
I mean, I guess that's fair. It depends how sick.
Right.
Yeah, people take time off for kids that are sick.
It's undeniable that we are facing a mental health crisis. And one of the best ways to address our mental health crisis is by making pet ownership easier.
The move is pretty much without precedent at this point. Only a small town near San Francisco has something similar, and that's just for the care of service animals there.
Interesting. All right, happening this weekend, you can check out some adoptable pets during the 11th annual Barktoberfest. It's happening at Lake Eola from noon until 4 on Sunday. Various rescue groups from Florida will be there. Orange County Animal Services will also have its mobile clinic offering free rabies vaccinations and microchipping to Orange County residents.
And next week, OCAS is hosting its annual Furry Fall Festival. It's on Wednesday from 2 to 6 p.m. at the shelter on Conroy Road in Orlando. There will be food vendors, music, and Halloween-themed entertainment. All adoption fees will be waived for the available pets at the event. WESH 2 is committed to finding forever homes for every shelter pet in Central Florida, and that's why every Friday we give a special spotlight to the animals waiting to be adopted right now. OCAS will be joining us tomorrow at noon for WESH to the rescue.
And WESH News at 6 is straight ahead.
Stuart Moore joining us now with what's coming up next half hour, Stu.
Jesse and Summer, it's pretty clear we are all over hurricane season. But hurricane season may not be done with us. Chief Meteorologist Tony Manolfi and the First Warning Weather Team are watching for signs of development over the next few weeks. And a lot of people have looked at their ballots and are confused about Amendment 2. That's the one concerning hunting and fishing. We'll break down the fine print. But first, we are near the end of the suitcase murder trial. We are inside the courtroom as prosecutors showed the jury new video they hope leads to a conviction. Next at 6.
Closed captioning is sponsored by Todd Minor Law.